Today's been a very stressful day with work and my family. I feel like as you get older, your parents start having issues with their health. It can be very difficult. I'm used to my parents being the ones that I can go to for help, and now it feels like they're getting more and more fragile as they age. So anyway, I just needed something to sort of take my mind off of all of the things that are going on, and maybe that's part of the reason why I did feel like I wanted to do Vlogmas this year. So this is my main bookcase right now. I do have some books in the bookcase by my window, and I do have some books in my room. Those are really books that I want to donate, to be honest. But as you can see, we're getting to a point where there are too many books and there's not enough space. So I think right now I'm going to tackle my nonfiction books here and work on seeing which ones I want to get rid of. This is very difficult for me, so this will probably be a bit of a chatty one, but also you'll get to see some of the books that I have. Let's start here. So we have The Perennial Philosophy by Aldous Huxley. I love this book, so I will definitely be keeping this. A really great book if you are at all interested in major religions. It covers Christianity, Islam, Buddhism. Really great. That's definitely one of my favorite reads of 2025. This is one that I actually have not read. Upside Down by Eduardo Galeano. I heard it's a very interesting look at our privileges living in the first world. I do really want to read this. I almost feel like I need a new section for books that I haven't read yet versus ones that I have, so maybe I'll leave it down there. How to Read a Book by Mortimer Adler. I always just say Mortimer Adler, but someone else also did write it, Charles Van Doren. I love this book. This is the book that really got me back into reading very challenging and classical texts. I actually do want to make a video on this book because there's so much to it, like so many gems. So many gems. I do have an old video talking about that, which I will include. I think it was one of my first videos on my channel. This is an excellent book. I should reread this and make videos as I am doing it. If you want to read challenging books, you're not sure how to tackle them, if you want to retain more of the information that you're reading in books, give this a go. So I'm definitely going to keep this one. There doesn't really seem to be any logic about how this is organized, so I'll do an organization video at another time. I do want to read this. I feel like I need an audiobook, but I don't think there is one. Nubia, The Rise and Fall of African Empires. I just feel like so much of our life as Black people is feeling like we're inferior, so I wanted to learn more about African empires and things that happened in the continent of Africa before colonization. But like, I don't know if I'm very picky, but like, I don't know if you can see, like, I can't believe the text in the book is not justified. So when I was reading it, I was like, oh, I can't read this. It looks like the formatting looks so bad. So anyway, I don't know if I'm going to read this. This is like a maybe. This will be in a maybe pile. I do want to read this. My Glorious Defeats. He is someone, Barrett Brown. He used to be in Anonymous, the hacker group. I've tried reading it a few times and it's actually really interesting. Very funny. I guess it's an autobiography. So it's a memoir. He calls it a memoir. I will keep it. I'm just not really in a memoir mood. Decolonial Marxism by Walter Rodney. He's most known for his book, oh my gosh, I'm like blanking on the name of his book, which is so famous. How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, I think is the name of his book. I started reading this. It was really good. I just felt like there was a lot that I didn't know. I did not study African history in the past, and this is written for somebody who has a very good understanding of different things like Ujamaa, I think I'm pronouncing that properly, in Tanzania, and Amilcar Cabral, who was a leader of Guinea-Bissau. So he kind of goes into this assuming you have a very good knowledge of African history and decolonial movements in Africa. So I felt like it just wasn't for beginners, but really great book. The 100 Years' War on Palestine by Rashid Khalidi. I actually don't know if I'll keep this. It's okay. I found another book that I think is a better look at Palestinian history, much more beginner friendly. And I started rereading this book this year and I realized I feel like Khalidi is the bourgeoisie, like his family. So when I started rereading it, I was thinking, I'm not really sure if I agree with the lens that he's tackling some of these pieces. So I probably will keep it in terms of being able to critique it for people who read it, because I feel like this is the book everyone says to read, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. So anyway, I don't know. I'm going to reread it at some point in time. I don't know when. On Anarchism by Chomsky. This was really good. I find sometimes with Chomsky's books, they're like collections, so some chapters will be really good and others aren't. I'll keep this though. This is a good book if you are interested in understanding more about anarchism. I think it's the first chapter. Yeah, Notes on Anarchism, for me was like the perfect introduction to anarchism. And then after I read that, I was like, oh, I don't know if I need to read the rest of this book. But I will at some point in time. A Small Place by Jamaica Kincaid. This is a really good and funny look at tourism. I will keep this. I really did like this book. It's really funny. This one I still haven't read. Our History is the Future. I've been meaning to read this for so long. I just couldn't get into it. It is by an Indigenous writer. I think this one is particularly about the Dakota Access Pipeline. I will read it. I think I need like an Indigenous section. So I'll keep it until I've read it, because I'm not going to know if I like it until I read it. Mad World by Meecha Fraser Carroll, The Politics of Mental Health. I started reading this, I just couldn't really get into it, but I think I need to read it before I get rid of it. Looking at mental health and how that relates to capitalism. And we got two by Frantz Fanon, The Wretched of the Earth and Black Skin, White Masks. I read this last year. I don't know if I think this is like a must read, but it was interesting. I started reading this and I actually liked this much more. I've just never finished it. I don't know when I'm gonna read it, but it would be a good one to keep. I almost feel like some of these books like maybe just don't need to stay here, but I will keep them. Highway of Tears by Jessica McDermott. If I'm being honest, I would not recommend this book. It's a shame because the information in here is really useful, but I just felt like it wasn't outlined in a good way. Like I really got a lot out of it because I was very diligent in taking my notes, and I kind of had like post-its as I was reading and writing and following along, but I found it very confusing, if I'm being honest. This is about the missing and murdered women who've gone missing along a highway just called Highway of Tears. I have a video about it on my TikTok channel. I don't know if it's also on YouTube. But yeah, I don't like this book, so I might actually get rid of this. I'll see. I've tried reading this so many times and I can't get into it. From Black Lives Matter to Black Liberation by Keeanga Yamada Taylor. I always feel bad getting rid of a book I haven't finished, but I just like, I don't know. I think I also know a lot about Black issues and I don't know if I need another book about that. So I actually think I might get rid of that. The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. This is an excellent book. I've never finished it. I think I have a few more chapters left, but excellent when it comes to decolonizing our minds as Black people and all of the ways in which we've been told that we're second class. The reason I don't like this book is like the font is tiny. It's so small, but it was a great book. I started reading it years ago and it changed my life. So I'll keep it until I buy another version of it. Race Matters by Cornel West. I read this last year and I really liked it. Cornel West has an excellent writing style. Like if I was ever to write a work of nonfiction, I would read West to be inspired. Okay, Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria? I read this a few years ago. I remember not really liking it. There were some parts I thought were excellent, but the majority of the book I didn't really like, so I probably will just take notes on this and then get rid of it. I actually feel very okay getting rid of this one. Well, then I have room for The Everythink War by Dana Mattioli, which is about Amazon. This is a really good book. If you are wondering whether or not you should boycott Amazon, read this and you definitely will. I have chosen to not participate in buying things from Amazon for a while. I mean, occasionally what you're looking for, it just happens to be there and so you have no choice. But yeah, reading this really solidified for me that I'm not interested in them as an organization. And there's one chapter which is my absolute favorite, which is all about Lena Khan and the litigation that she was taking on at the FTC. But yes, this chapter 9, but it also was just in general about antitrust litigation and why the antitrust movement had changed over a period of generations. So fascinating chapter. I should probably make a video talking about some of that stuff. It's a reminder to do that. Okay, now some more books that I've not read. This is Edward Said's Orientalism and Culture and Imperialism. I have started Culture and Imperialism and it's pretty interesting. Orientalism, I haven't started. I will keep these. I've heard they're classics, so. Imperialism and the National Question by Lenin. I actually did not remember I had this. I do want to read this. I'm just not at a place where I have a lot of time to read right now. So when I look at this, I'm like, I don't know when I'm going to read this, but I will read this. Maybe I'll get rid of this. Capitalism's Crisis Deepens by Richard Wolff. I remember this was sort of like my introduction to socialism many, many years ago. But the more I learn, the more I'm not really sure Wolff is the person I should be spending my time reading and learning from. I think he just has like a very particular conception of socialism, which is very different than other people. So I feel okay getting rid of that. The Anti-Capitalist Book of Fashion by Tansy E. Hoskins. I honestly didn't love this book, but there were some parts of it that I thought were really insightful. So I'll probably keep it. I definitely will take notes from it, and then I'll decide what I want to do with it. Angela Davis's autobiography. I read this such a long time ago, I can't even remember the specifics. I remember when I read it before, I loved it. If I read it now, how would I feel? I don't know, that's the question, right? I'll keep it. I'll keep it. A Mind Spread Out on the Ground by Alicia Elliott. The first time I read this, I thought it was amazing. And then I reread it this year and I was like, oh, I don't know about it. You know what? This is a book that I think I would like to give to somebody. So I'll keep it in my, to give to somebody who is interested in learning about Indigenous issues. A really good introductory book to learning about Indigenous issues. But if you are quite familiar with topics in that area, I don't really think it's for you. It also was interesting because she lived in both Canada and America, so had a bit of insight into both of those. So yeah, I have this in a pile of books that I want to give to people. I actually never read this. I should read it. It's very small. I have nothing to say about it. Next we have The Will to Change, Men, Masculinity, and Love by Bell Hooks. I'll keep this. It's a good introductory look at feminism and masculinity. I am looking for a book like this written by a man because I do think as women we're somewhat limited into how we're really able to address some of these issues, but pretty good introductory one. I would say the super introductory version of that, I don't think I even have it here, is part of that Pluto Press series. Okay, then I have Sisters of the Yam, Black Women, and Self-Recovery. I actually could probably get rid of this, but I kind of want to keep it because this was my introduction to decolonizing my mind. I read this a few years ago and just sort of started a process of unlearning things. This might be one I would give to someone, but I also didn't really like the font in this, so we'll see. Abolish Social Work as We Know It. This is a pretty good book looking at social work and the ways in which it is oppressive, very Canadian focused. So if you live in Toronto, really good for you. If you live in Canada in general, pretty helpful, but outside of that, I'm not sure how useful it is. Tangled in Terror. I actually might get rid of this. Uprooting Islamophobia. I read it this year. It was good, but I didn't love it. And I do have a version of the, I have an ebook, because when you buy books from Pluto Press, they give you the ebook also, so I don't really feel like I need to hold on to the physical one. That might be another one I'd give to somebody. Women, Race, and Class by Angela Davis. I've tried reading this multiple times and I can't get into it, so I don't know if I will read this or keep it. The Second Sex by Simone de Beauvoir. My goal at the beginning of this year was to finish this. I feel like life just really changed as the months went by. My mom was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, my relationship ended, I quit my job, there's just so much going on that reading this didn't feel as important as it did at the beginning of the year. But it is actually a pretty good book and it's written really well. So hopefully I'm in a lighter stage of life at some point in time where I can read this again. Feminism Interrupted by Lola Olufemi. This is another one that I think I would be fine just having the ebook, to be honest. Really interesting beginner look into feminism. What I liked is that it's based in England, so there are a lot of UK focused history and things like that that I didn't know, but I don't really feel like I need to hold on to a copy of this, if I'm being honest. The Right to Sex by Mia Shinavizan. I love this book. I go back to this book so often. raises really interesting questions about feminism. Doesn't really give a lot of answers, but raises really interesting questions. So this is one of my favorite books on feminism for sure. Refusing Compulsory Sexuality, a Black asexual lens on our sex-obsessed culture, looking at sexuality and capitalism. I would definitely say this is for beginners. It didn't feel overly complex, but just does a really good job of tying some of those issues together for people who are new to the subject. So, really good one. Okay, then I have my books that are kind of like theology based. We have The Present Age by Soren Kierkegaard. I don't even really know what that's about. It's an essay. Maybe I should try and read this. It's very short. Just read like a few pages before bed, because then I'll know whether I want to keep it or get rid of it. So I'll put that there. The Four Loves by C.S. Lewis. I actually bought this relatively recently, but when I was reading it, I was like, I don't really know if I loved this book. I'll keep it for now, looking at different forms of love, affection, friendship, eros, and charity. I really like his section on friendship. That's probably my favorite. I really did previously like his chapter on charity, which is like love of one's neighbor, but then when I read The Perennial Philosophy, Aldous Huxley tackles it in a much better way. So I was like, I think I would have liked it until I read Huxley. So I think this is like a good introductory book into looking at different forms of love. I'll keep it for now. I think I'll give it to the right person. Then Works of Love by Soren Kierkegaard. I've tried reading this book and like my brain hurts when I read it. I can't get into Kierkegaard. I don't know. His writing is very confusing to me. But I was reading this and contrasting it with another book on love. Erich Fromm, The Art of Loving. And I would say I liked this much better. I think because he's looking at love from a Christian perspective, and I think Christianity has a very interesting and unique conception of love. Okay, that's already 20 minutes, so I think I'm gonna leave it there and tackle my other bookshelf at a later date. I'll leave these here for now. Pretty useful. I got rid of all of these, so I'm proud of myself because decluttering is not something I enjoy doing. Thanks so much for watching. Vlogmas is good. It's forcing me to find little things to film on a daily basis. I'll see you in the next one.